all, and welcome to another episode on the Baggers Chat YouTube channel. But I'll also say on Baggers Chat, because we're actually uploading this on our audio platforms as well, since it is a bit of a new series. My name is Mitch Patson, and as always, we are joined by Ethan Daffy, and today we are doing episode 2 of Trade Talk. As we said yesterday, we want to try and do an episode every single day. To kind of give you, to give the viewers a bit of an update with what's going on inside the four walls of Carlton in trade period. But Daff Boy, I'll throw straight to you. You've had a busy day, so credit to you to come on for an episode straight away. But how are you to start off with?
No, I'm good. I think it was a bit of an interesting day trade-wise. It wasn't really too fascinating. I think the most fascinating part was probably the pick swaps between Freo, Brisbane and West Coast, and how that kind of leads to the Starcevic and kind of McVee deals, but not saying that's anything of interest to us. But yeah, a bit of a quieter day. Obviously, we've got a trade officially done, so that's good to get one out of the way, and got a few more to go, Pato. But yeah, we'll obviously have our kind of take on some of the things that happened today and some of the kind of little news snippets, Pato.
Yeah. No, well, exactly right. We'll get straight into our first sort of talking point, Daffy Boy, and it's Liam. And I'll just say, there's a comment on the last video saying about how he's counting the amount of times I say Daffy Boy. So make sure you mention that as your first one, because I actually replied to the comment saying another one saying Daffy Boy. But anyway, I just thought I would say that. Oh, I don't know exactly who it was, but credit to you, you know exactly who you are. But yeah, so Liam Reidy is the first player to get done from a Carlton perspective. The first trade of the day as well. But the paperwork has been lodged on Liam Reidy trade. Carlton will get Reidy and picks 53 and 71. Fremantle will get picks 50 and 68. So let's be real. When you look at that, it's realistically just Liam Reidy for like a 50 or a 68. But it just shows there that we just had to put through that little bit more to secure Liam Reidy services. But in total, I think if we get 53 and 71 back, and the massive win, because I mean, we're only giving up 50 and 68, and we're receiving Liam Reidy 53 and 71. So it's not even 50 or 68 equivalent. It's probably like an 80 or 90th round pick, or well, not a round pick, 90th pick, definitely. But that's crazy. Crazy scene seeing that. But I'll throw straight to you your thoughts about Liam Reidy, because I know how much of a big fan you are of this pick.
Yeah, it's good. I'm really happy that we've ticked that off early. I don't think we knew it was never going to be a hard deal to get done, Pat. I don't think it's a deadline day, spectacular with Liam Reidy. But really pleased that we got him through the door, and it was good you just touched on the picks there. I don't
crazy.
Like they're not going to be used. I'd say all 4 of those picks wouldn't. I think they'd all be passed on. I'd say in the 50s. I don't think you get to pick up many players in the 50s. I know I checked in the last 3-4 years, we haven't picked anyone after pick 50. So I think it's more a points kind of thing. We've got academies coming in. So and Freo, I guess, probably thought, we haven't given this guy an opportunity, so let's not make it hard and get the deal done. And yeah, I'm pleased. He's obviously already been at the club, and it's a bit of a different club compared to Freo, I would say, just in terms of history. And I know they've only played for 30 years, but like you walk through the door and the cups are there. I know they're from a long time ago, but I'd imagine it'd be pretty. I think it'd be pretty cool. I find it pretty cool, and I've been there a million times, Pato. So it'd be pretty cool to walk in the club and seeing that history. And like we're a better club than Fremantle, just in terms of the history. Like, we're lucky enough to be, over 160 years old compared to their 30 years. So yeah, really pleased, Pato. He feels a need. That I think that's been probably our biggest theme from both of us in this trade period. We're filling up needs, and I'll say it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll throw it straight to you. Like, are you kind of ready for 2026? Daffy Boy, for Liam Reidy? Had to get that out of the way.
That's the first dad joke of trade talk.
Had to get that out of the way. Before we jumped on the episode, we both said, "Are we ready to go?" So that was a bit of a funny one, Daffy Boy. Just thought I'll throw that straight to you. But I mean, let's be real. He is 25 years old. And I don't know how many times I have to say, I literally had a hit of tennis today and I couldn't stop talking about Liam Reidy to a mate of mine. And he probably was saying, Pato, shut the fuck up. I don't care who Liam Reidy is and what he's going to do at Carlton. But I was saying to you, I'm like, he is playing behind Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson. So they're two premier ruckmen in the competition. And he just simply could not get a go. And he actually did play a game earlier on this year in round one.
Yes, he did.
Luke Jackson, but that was literally the only chance he could get because they wanted to see how the two ruckmen would go without Sean Darcy in the side. But they just realised that Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson are very good together. So it just is unlucky on Liam Reidy. But now I think more importantly, it gives an opportunity for Liam Reidy for next year, but also a bit of competition for Mark Pittonet because he's not guaranteed that number one ruck spot. So I'll throw it straight to you. I know how much you love this guy, and I know I've already said that, but 25, he's literally in the peak of his powers right now because he's heading towards that prime, and now he might finally get that opportunity to play some AFL football, but also to touch on Mark Pittonet, and now there is a bit of competition. I'm sure that will make both these players better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think healthy competition is always a good thing as a supporter to have. Not in all positions. You look at defense. If Karmas is coming in, there's competition there with him and Haynes, and I know they can probably play together. But that just creates that. You're not getting complacent and just thinking you're going to get a game every week. So I know Pittonet's a really, really hard worker as well. So I'm sure he'll get the best out of Reidy. Reidy will get the best out of him. And, you almost let the best man win, Pato, in terms of that. And that'll change throughout the year. Reidy could play round one, but he might not be the best ruckman at round 10. So it's good to have two guys at a disposal. They're job doers. I'm not going to go out there and say Liam Reidy's going to win us the premiership. I know a lot of us are joking about that, but feels a need. 25. We touched on it off air. He's won the reserves best and fairest. Obviously, Freo's reserves team, Peel Thunder, won the BNF there. So clearly has talent. And he did say that we approached him in round 21 of this season. So those chats have clearly gone on for a while, Pato, and they see him as the perfect fit because if you're talking to him that early on, you clearly have a strong interest in him, and it's good to bring home a Victorian. So really, really pleased. And I was just saying at work today that he's a guy that he splits in between the age demographic of both our ruckmen. So I think is Pitto 27, 28 heading into next year. Reidy's 25. O'Keefe's 21, 2021. So you kind of have the next in line with O'Keefe developing. He's already played a few games. I think he can play as a second ruck as well if we need it. But he gets that development as a 21-year-old. Reidy's ready to go at 25 to challenge the top dog in Mark Pittonet. So it's trade period's always interesting to me because you go, gee, it's just a totally different look now heading into next year. Like we've got a guy who we probably didn't really know, probably 6-7 weeks ago before we really we probably hear his name here and there and whatever, but you don't really care. But now we've got a guy that we're going to be speaking about in selection preview videos and all that kind of stuff now, and we don't have to coning. So it's a totally different look for next year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely spot on about the age of Liam Reidy and how he kind of fits right in between Mark Pittonet and Hudson O'Keefe. So Mark Pittonet's 29. So
there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, so he's now heading towards like the 30s, and I'm sure he's in the prime of his career right now.
Yeah.
But we all know that the ruckmans could be a little bit different. Some retire a little bit earlier. Some, we saw it with Oscar McInerney as well, how like that kind of just came out of nowhere. But we also see Max Gawn probably still right there in his prime, and he's what would he be? Probably mid-30s, probably.
Yeah. I think he's 34, 35.
That's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But then also Hudson O'Keefe is 20, so he's turning 21 in December this year. So I think hearing that is really good. So heading into right here, right now, I've seen a bit of Liam Reidy, and it's a good thing that we can also look at how he's been able to kind of dominate in the waffle and being the best and fairest in the reserves of Fremantle. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good sort of award to to end your season because, I
Hmm.
mean, for a ruckman to win the BNF is
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing, but also to do it with a few other guys who are quite good in the Fremantle reserves. And I'm sure Neil Erasmus was probably leading that until he then started to get some more senior time. So to know that he's behind a Neil Erasmus in the BNF, and then as soon as he goes into the seniors, Liam Reidy is the man. That's a
yeah,
great thing, and that just shows that he is a genuine, like has very high potential as a ruckman.
yep,
And I'll say it again, he's just behind two premier ruckmen of the competition, and he just simply cannot get a shot. And we see it all the time. We saw it with Lloyd Meek as well. So
yep.
it just happens all the time. And we mentioned so many times how whatever they're growing down in Fremantle in terms of ruck stocks is crazy because they've got another
Yeah.
one. I think Aiden Riddle as well is another
Yes.
one that's
Yep.
just like around that sort of mark who's
Mm.
actually looking for opportunity as well. But it's crazy that for you. But heading into next year, I'll just ask you a question before we move on to our next segment. But between Mark Pitnet and Liam Reidy, I know it's a tough question because it's kind of predicting the future in a way, but do you think Liam Reidy needs to have a big preseason to prove that he's the number one ruckman, or do you think to start the season, most likely Mark Pitnet will be that number one ruck and Liam Reidy just has to learn his craft in the VFL?
I wish I could predict the future, Pato. That would make a life easier for as a Carlton supporter for everything, especially Premiership, Pato. But no, it's a tough one. I think like I said, I think the competition will be really healthy. I know when I was at the club a couple of weeks ago doing the tour, Pito was in there. He was in there by himself, lifting weights when he could probably be on holidays. He knows that it's a big opportunity for him too. So, yeah. When you listen to Cripps talk about Pito and their kind of connection on field, that gives me confidence for Pito as a number one. But yeah, like you said, it's hard to really predict the future. And I just hope both these guys are good enough to be the number one. And clearly, by what I don't know what we're going to call him, Reidy. What's his nickname? I don't know.
Reds.
The sledgehammer. I don't know, but ready, set, go. But anyway, ready, set, go. Anyway, yeah. In terms of I just want it to be a really good competition in both. When either of them are in, I just want to go. Okay, I'm confident sitting in my seat at the footy, going, okay, he'll get to do a job. So yeah, it's a different look. I think it provides just a bit of freshness around the group, especially we don't have to play the two rucks if we don't have to. So yeah, really pleasing. And like he said in his interview, how he was kind of a bit frustrated at Freo that he couldn't get the gig that he was probably working really hard for. And he talked about it with the reserves BNF. It's a pretty good accomplishment for a ruckman and for a guy who your motivation would be low at the back end of the season because you probably know you're not going to get a game. I know they were playing finals, but it would have taken something big for him to play. So I like the frustration. I hope he uses the frustration day one of training and he goes straight at Pito when they're one-on-one. You know what I mean? Working really hard against each other. And I think Pito's the ultimate professional that wouldn't be, opposed to helping a guy like that who is a bit of competition. So like, it'll work both ways. And I think Pito's that ultimate team guy that will get around a guy like that too.
Yeah, I think we've already mentioned it as well with Mark Pitnet about how good of a clubman he is. Like last year, and I think even this year, we said it at times as well about TDK, him getting that number one ruck spot, and Mark Pitnet just being in the background, and he just has to accept it.
Yep.
But he is such whenever he gets the opportunity to play in the Navy Blue, that he's going to give his 100%. And that's such a good sort of person to have around the club. And we speak about culture. We spoke about it yesterday. He's in the centerpiece of that culture. So it's a really good sort of guy to have around. And as you said, now he finally might get that opportunity, but it's good now that we can have a Liam Reidy who can come in and really challenge for this number one rock spot. But also, we're not even speaking about Hudson O'Keefe. He will have another year to develop. He showed some glimpses this year. I'm not saying that he will be anywhere near their number one ruck. I probably wouldn't expect him to be. But if he has some great minutes in the VFL, and who knows, he might get some exposure as a forward alongside Mackay and maybe going into the ruck as well. That's something that would be great to see. So it's good that we now have three ruckmen that, it's tough that we lose TDK, but we've also got a guy like Hudson O'Keefe and Liam Reidy and Mark Pitnet, 3 guys who can be established at AFL level. But Death Boy, let's now move on to our next segment. And it's something that we touched on a little bit yesterday, but there's been a bit more developing. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, Death Boy.
Development.
But it's a developments that, God, I need to do some English lessons, mate. Ever since I've left school, mate, my English has gone absolutely out the window. But Chris Keane on Charlie Curnow. So I'll read out 2 tweets that was said today. So it has been pretty limited at this stage. Talks with Carlton. We do have an interest in bringing Charlie into the football club. Only early and plenty to play out. We will keep talking to Carlton about a deal that could satisfy. And then he also said there is multiple options. If it is players from our club or opposition clubs, we will try and remain pragmatic in terms of what might get a deal done. We'll try all options. So it shows there that Sydney is not going to go down fighting. They are going to try everything in their power to get Charlie Curnow into the club. And now it's kind of down to how this deal gets done. I still feel like I'm confident that this deal gets done. But I don't know why, Daffy Boy, and I thought I'll throw straight to you about this. Today, I just had a bit in my mind, and I know it's probably a bit of delusion, but I just am now starting to wonder, God, could we actually manage without Charlie at the football club in that forward line? And no, seriously, we need to realize how much of a superstar this guy is, and I just hope that we can hold firm with Charlie and get the best possible trade that we can get for Charlie. And it's something that I know is like stupid because I'm like, we need to move past Charlie. But I'm like, God, I bloody hope that we can get something in return that would really catapult us our chances for next year. But what's your thoughts on those quotes from Chris Keane? But also about what I just said about, is there a bit of delusion about losing Charlie?
Yeah, first of all, on the Keane comments, they're going to continue to play the game. That's just what it is. That's just what this time of the year is. They're going to try and get a better deal. You know, he speaks about, we're trying to get a better deal for both sides, blah, blah, blah. They're going to try and get a better deal. I think they would get a better deal if you involve another club, in my opinion. I think you shouldn't involve another club. I think that'll let them get away with it. The only way I'd involve another club is if Zach Butters was involved in this deal. That'd be the only way. I don't think that would happen. But I think if they're going to other clubs and giving us, their B graders, then sorry, well, that's just not going to happen. You're going to have to trade for him. You're going to have to give up. Don't let another club help you. You're going to have to fucking pay up because you're getting the player. So, it's interesting. People are, still going, we got to get Gould and blah, blah. I don't think that'll be happening. And I think they'll want to bring in a guy like Curnow to play with these players. So, you don't want to be losing too much. But, yeah, in terms of your point, no, I understand. I completely understand. I sometimes have times where it's like, should we get rid of this player? Or, gee, I miss that player, or all that type of stuff. But look, this is what I look at the situation without Charlie. I think if we keep Charlie, I think there's going to be more issues that arise. I think his attitude has been absolutely pathetic on field for 2 years, I would say. Even when he was leading the Coleman in 24, I thought there was games where he really could have had it by the scruff of the neck and just really didn't want to get it in the tough games, especially in that back end of the year. I think we had Harry out a couple of times in 24, and we're starting to get on that losing streak with about 6 weeks before finals. Like, that was his time to go and kick a fucking 8 goals and drag us over the line and get us into a good final spot. But particularly this year, I thought his attitude was horrible. And, I've had a few people I've spoken to about, the players' kind of thoughts on him. I don't want to go too into detail, but I'd say, I don't want to say on the record, but I think a few players are pretty dirty with him at the moment. And I don't want to go too deep into that. But, I just had a little bit of mail in the last couple of days. Pato, that's not me lying, and that's me getting told about the best and fairest. That's another conversation for another day, Pato. But I just think he's a good player, great player, Pato. But I think there's more issues than I think there's more negatives than positives with him staying now. And you could see it with Voss's speech. You could see it with Cripps' speech. You know where those speeches were going. They were directed straight at the blokes who were in that room who were leaving. They were. It was like Voss is like, it's not about playing for me. It's about playing for the club. He's saying that directly to Charlie.
Yep.
He's not happy with Voss because Voss probably, got a rocket up his ass because he wasn't playing well enough and his attitude wasn't good enough. So he wants to leave. It's not about playing for the coach. In all walks of life, you have a job, Pato. I have a job. You're not necessarily going to love everyone, but you make it work in life. I'm sure there's players at Geelong who don't like Chris Scott, but they play for Geelong because they win games and they enjoy winning games. You don't have to have the world's best relationship, but clearly Charlie thinks he has to go because of that relationship that seems to be, in a sense, broken, Pato.
It's a very good point, and it's then brought this question into my head about, so we've seen this so many times, haven't we, about players and like coaches kind of having a relationship and then potentially there's a bit of a like a falling out, but you can always like resurrect it and like rebuild that relationship, right? So my question to you is, if we hear in 2 or 3 days' time, or maybe early next week, maybe we get some news over the weekend that Charlie has met with Carlton and has spoken with Vossi and it's all good and Charlie is staying at the football club, what would you, I know that you wouldn't be happy about it, but would you think that would your mindset be, okay, well, obviously something has happened that now the Carlton Football Club is not wanting to trade Charlie Curnow away, and they know they're heading into next year, the whole narrative around Carlton won't be purely on Charlie staying at the football club and all the media looking in, spotlighting right on Charlie and right on Michael Voss. But from your point of view, how would you react? And I know that I've already asked you this, but now thinking that potentially Charlie could resurrect that relationship with Michael Voss, or even if there was anything, we don't know because the media sometimes does, unfortunately, say bullshit things. So what would your reaction be if Charlie Curnow is still at Carlton at the end of the trade period, and your thoughts heading into next year, what the narrative will be?
Yeah, well, yeah. To be honest, I think internally they would be fine. I think internally they would be fine because they're professionals and, his teammates will have to move on and Charlie's his teammate. My issue right now, and this is relation to me, you, these people who watch our videos and the fans of this football club, he has treated our fan base like fucking idiots. Pato, it's not good enough.
So am I able to cut in quickly? Can you name some examples or scenarios that has happened where you have felt disrespected from Charlie Curnow as a fan?
Well, the big one obviously is, the request and his just attitude to the questions as well. Like I remember when they were asking him in the car park about, are you leaving? He just straight up lied.
Yeah.
So he lied. He lied twice. He lied after. I know that the one with the Doc game that he's probably trying to take the, energy away from him and the media spotlight away from him because it was Doc's final game. And that's fair enough. He still lied, but it was, I understood at the time. But yeah, and it's just, for me, it's this, like, he just seems so against Carlton now. Like he just doesn't post anything, so all these teammates are posting George Hewitt thing. He doesn't. He never does. I've always kind of noticed that with Charlie. He doesn't follow Carlton. He's never followed Carlton on Insta. I know it's not a big thing, but you never see him post stuff about someone else's success. He's too busy posting about his Adidas sponsorships. He's too busy posting about him and Dacos with their shit drink. Like it's the priorities are just wrong for me. That's just what it is. That Patrick Cripps' priorities, what are they? What are they, Pato? Give me the priorities.
Captain of the Carlton Football Club.
Yep. It'd be so many things other than himself. It'd be the footy club, his family, obviously his wife and his kid, and he put a lot of stuff ahead of that, ahead of himself. Sorry, and I just feel like the way he's handled things, and he's, instead of putting himself out there and saying it himself, he's got his manager to do it. Like, and what we've been through with him, like he was an idiot when he was drink driving on the week of the draft, Pato. I don't think if we were both going up for the draft, we'd be doing something stupid like that. And a
Yeah.
lot of footballers wouldn't. I'd say every footballer doesn't. We picked him. I'm not saying we made him the player he is. Well, we kind of did in a way. Gave him the
100%.
opportunity. He was an idiot when he was playing basketball, did his knee twice, slipped it on tiles, and we're like, oh, come on, Charlie. Like, we're getting around him. And really, he hadn't become the player he is today until probably 2022, in my opinion. Like we were banking on this guy. We're banking on him through struggling years. Like 2021 was a shocking year. And he comes back and we're like, oh, he's back. And now he's doing this to us, Pato. I think that's the bigger issue for me. I don't think we take him back as supporters unless he puts that much trust back into us. I feel like some supporters would struggle because the narrative I've seen and what people are against him now. I'm against him now. Like that's the big thing, I think.
And it's so funny how quickly the tables turn.
Yeah.
Because round 10 this year, if you were at a Carlton home game and Charlie Curnow's name came up on the screen, he would get a bigger
there you go, though.
cheer over Patrick Cripps, the captain.
Yes.
Wow. That would be kind of like similar, but Charlie Curnow would still have a huge ovation when he was mentioned at home games. And even like he was so exciting whenever he went near the footy, everyone was like, oh, here comes Charlie. And then the amount of kids we see, the amount of adults we see with a jumper with number 30 on the back. Like, I don't think anyone would have had it for Jared Waite, Daffy Boy. I think it would have been for Charlie Curnow.
I'll just say quietly, I actually had Jared Waite one year.
Oh, did you?
And it was after he kicked 7 against Essendon. That's actually a funny story. I've never told on Baggers Chat, but he kicked 7. We lost against Essendon with about 30 seconds to go. I cried when I went home. Next morning I went to Rebel Sport Pato and bought the nice 2013 white Guernsey with 30 on the back. But I do understand your point. Your point. And with the celebration on the screen, that just tells you the story.
Exactly right.
We give him all the energy, probably when he sometimes doesn't deserve it. I was speaking to my mum about this. I have been on his side for so long when he has performed bad. She has said for years. She said for the last 12 months, going, this guy, his attitude is terrible. And I've gone, oh, Mum, come on. Like, come on, he'll be right. He'll be right. He's trying. He's trying. Da. And I've backed him. Even this year, I reckon we both have. And now I kind of look at it and go, I'm an idiot. We're fools. We're fools for letting him get away with this. And he thinks he can just get away with leaving now without saying anything. It is a disgrace. He is a disgrace to this football club at the moment. And his legacy, he's a common medalist, but what is it if he leaves, Pato? What's his legacy if he leaves? 20 years down the track, we'll have better players than him. We'll have premiership players who are more important than him. Harry Mackay, in my eyes, is already more important than him. And he cops it. So that's my final point on Charlie. And in terms of it as a whole squad, round 1 next year, I want to see everyone getting around these guys. Everyone getting around them. You know what I mean? Like the support they give Charlie, give it to everyone else. Give it to your Lewis Youngs when he's out there. I don't want to hear moaning. You know what I mean? I want to hear, when Harry goes out there, and he treat him like fucking Charlie. He's copped it. Like that's my issue at the moment. So hopefully that with these guys and these money-hungry players, hopefully when they're gone, now we can put all the focus and love into these players who want to be here, Pato.
So that trust, is there any chance that can be kind of reconnected again come next year if Charlie was to stay? From your point of view as a supporter, can this be resurrected? And if it could, what does Charlie need to do next year for you and other supporters to earn his trust back?
Well, his attitude would have to lift. He need to be tackling. He needs to be diving at balls. He needs to not be wrestling with players when he's lazy. And then that's the minimum, Pato. That's probably not enough. I'd say he'd have to have his best season by a mile, prove to us that why he's the superstar that everyone makes him out to be at the moment, Pato. And I'd say he'd have to push us into the top 4 and drag us on his back. That's how far I've gone. That's how far this relationship's broken. Like in 6 months' time, people will probably be laughing at me because I'm celebrating his goals, but it will take a while for me to get around him, to be honest, if he does stay. And I think it's 95% chance he's gone.
It's dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what? No, because I've woken up today as well thinking, I don't know if he goes. So
Yeah.
what is it? There's something in the air that is saying to us that maybe Charlie might be at the club next year. What is it going through your head right now saying that it's dropped that little bit more? Because you were adamant last night that he was going.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still pretty adamant. I think it's almost a guarantee. I don't know. I think you just got to lower a little bit just in case it comes back and, bites you in the ass. So, I think he's almost a guarantee to go. I think it's too far gone, and Carlton are playing the perfect game. We got Graham right at the helm. He's literally got us 2 picks for fucking Liam Reidy. So, I'm pretty sure they found a way to get something in return other than Reidy. So, yeah, I think he's gone, Pato. I think the relationship's gone in terms of the club. Players seem to, I'd say they'd be a bit dirty with him at the moment. Let's be real. I think Cripper would be dirty with him, even though he says he's his mate in the public. I'd imagine deep down he'd be going, well, come on. I'd imagine Harry be going, fuck, come on. You've been a part of this journey. You've had all the run of the mill. Everyone loves you. Everyone's hated me, and now you're gone. Now you're gone. When you have one bad year. One bad year. Like, what sort of resilience is that, Pato? But yeah, we could talk about it all day, but I'm kind of sick of it.
Yeah, no, well, that's a great lead into our next segment and our last segment, probably the last thing that we'll touch on, Dave Boy, and we won't need to spend too much time on this, but it's a quick update on Chris Kane once again on Will Hayward, and he has stated once again that Will Hayward is contracted for 4 more years, and he will see out that contract. So there is not much in those rumors, to be honest. So that, to me, shows that maybe if Charlie was to get to Sydney, Hayward wouldn't be a part of this trade. I know that he has been open about it, and his management has been open about it, but Chris Kane has said that he's contracted for 4 more years and we expect him to be a Swans player. We all know that everyone is like that. We know that Essendon are playing hardball, but at the end of the day, they're going to lose Zach Merritt. We're doing the same thing with Charlie. We're probably going to lose Charlie. So I'm sure they're doing it as well. But do you think that Will Hayward is potentially still a part of this trade? But if not, one last sort of talking point to lead back into Charlie. What trade could this potentially look like? It's been changing every day, and I feel like now I'm kind of getting less and less and less. And I think one of our comments last night was a really good trade, and and then someone else put in a trade as well that they thought it was a little bit like unders from our point of view. But I'm like, God, like I would be accepting that trade every single day of the week. So I feel like our mindset is like, I feel like we just want Charlie out, but we don't also want to give up a really shit trade. So your thoughts on Chris Keane's comments about Will Hayward potentially staying at the club and not being a part of this trade, but also leading to what this trade could look like if Charlie was to find his way to Sydney.
Yeah, I did have a bit of a laugh at those comments. Like it's like, well, if he's not on the table, then that just tells me the better players than him aren't on the table, which includes, Gouldens and Warners and Heaney's and Blakey's and there's other names in there, Rowbottoms and other guys like that who were probably better than Hayward.
Yep.
And we're talking about Hayward, I'd say he's a B grader. I'd say he's a handy player. But if he's not on the table, what the that's what I was thinking. I was like, if he's not on the table, then who the bloody hell is going to be on the table? But yeah, in terms of a trade, I'll just say this right now. I've got no idea. I've got no idea what this trade's going to be. We haven't had enough probably information on what's been offered. I like that it's been kept under the carpet because I am almost going to guarantee it. We'll wake up one morning, it'll be a random tweet from Cal Toomey, and we'll have 3 first rounders or two first rounders and then a player that we want, and we will just be happy and we'll drive off into the sunset, Pato, because I just think this will happen. I think this is the first time I've ever seen Carlton this steadfast get a really good deal. Probably since the Bryce Gibbs situation where I think we got way overs for that. So, it's going to be an interesting watch. But yeah, in terms of Will Hayward, I'd love him. But if they're that adamant that he's not going to go, then we've just got to find another alternative, which I'm sure they will end up finding.
Yeah, spot on. Well said. What was the Bryce Gibbs trade in the end?
It was 2 first rounders and another pick, and Adelaide fans talk about it to this day because they lost the grand final. Lost the grand final, and they brought Bryce Gibbs in, who had his probably best year at Carlton in 17 because it was a contract year. So it was very interesting with that. But because he tried to get to Adelaide the year before, I don't think he should have ended up going to Adelaide anyway because I think he's a Carlton person. But yeah, that was a big deal, that one.
Yeah. Now, while I said that, boy, before we wrap up the video, is there anything else that you would like to touch on about this whole episode that's been happening today, with whether it's Charlie or whether it's Liam Reidy once again officially becoming a Blue, or Will Hayward as well, potentially being out of this trade? What else would you want to say to finish the video?
No, it's been good to cover it. We've covered a fair bit considering it was a bit of a quieter day, but yeah, pleased that we've got the first trade. I would pick this right now. I think Campbell Chess will be the next deal, and I think Buku Khamis will get done on Monday.
Yeah. Can't wait for that. Campbell Chester and Buku Khamis. Just quickly, what trade do you think would look like for those two?
Hearing it might be futures. So, yeah, I'm not. I think it'll be second or third rounders. I think a second rounder for Buku and a second rounder for Chesser. One of them being a future, maybe. I think one of them this year's and one of them next, for obviously both players. So the clubs will pick and choose. But yeah, looking forward to getting those guys in the door, because I think they, once again, I'll say it again. If I had $1 for every time I said this, it fills a need. Yeah.
Then we've said that plenty of times, and I'm sure there's still a lot to play out from a Carlton perspective in trade period, not even including those names after the week. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this YouTube channel. Also, make sure to get around our socials, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We are on all the platforms. So make sure to follow those platforms to make sure you don't miss a thing. But to you, Daffy boy, and to every single blue bagger out there,
the baggers.